Hello and welcome back to Paddy Brennan Punching Up. This week is episode 2. Hope you enjoyed the first episode, a bit of your past and the people you've dabbled with.
Yep.
And obviously we spoke quite fondly of Ricky Hatton as well, and God rest his soul. This week, YouTube boxers. Is it a good or a bad thing for the exposure?
I mean, boxing's changed. It really has. It's all about the money now, you know. And if you haven't got a pedigree, and you haven't got a name, they won't put you on. If you can't sell tickets, they won't put you on. I mean, for example, look at Mike Tyson there. Mike Tyson with that Jake Paul. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not running that Jake Paul down. He's made a lot of money. I mean, fair play to him.
He ain't a bad little boxer, to be fair.
Absolutely. But Mike Tyson, in his day, it wouldn't have gone 20 seconds into the first round.
No.
You know, and I watched that fight, and I was upset that, Mike could have knocked him out any time. Then you could see he paused a couple of times.
Yeah.
He didn't hit him with those left or right hooks, and he paused. So my guess is there was something in the contract. If he was to knock that guy out, he ain't getting paid.
Yeah.
He got 20 million for that fight. You know, Mike skint. I remember when he came over there to Birmingham, and he skint. He didn't have any money.
I read his book, and what he's done with money, it disappeared quicker than water and stuff.
Well,
what a life he must have lived, though, just throwing money like that. But it's also people took the piss out of him.
They took the piss out of him. He didn't understand money.
No.
And at that age, you don't.
But you never come from it either.
He never come from it. He had nothing. He had never had a penny. He had all there. I think at one point he had something like 160 million.
Yeah.
150. Now he's in trouble with the IRS. He can't have money.
No.
The IRS, he still owes them many, many millions. And he'll tell you himself, I owe millions. He didn't understand how to pay the taxes or anything like that. This money came to him, and without having a proper accountant, and they fleeced him. He just got rid of this money, bought this, bought that, bought him that car, bought these houses for different people. He'd meet somebody within half an hour, he'd buy him an house.
Yeah.
He just spent money like water. He couldn't control it, he was too young. To see him on that show with a YouTuber, that wasn't the Mike, that I knew, and around the world people loved. If anything, it sort of tarred his reputation, because kids who didn't know him saw that and would go, that Jake Paul's one of the best boxers I've ever seen in my life.
Why is everyone saying he was so good when he couldn't do that? And that's
it's like going to a restaurant. You can go 100 times and have great food.
Yeah.
You go there one time and the food's bad, you remember that.
Yeah.
And people will remember that fight.
Yeah.
They will always remember it.
Do you think he sold his soul a little bit because of the financial situation he's in? Because obviously he's done a few of these fights now. Obviously he had the Roy Jones one that was kind of contracted up to make sure that they couldn't knock each other out, etc., etc. Do you think he's had to sort of sell his soul to try and level himself back out?
We go back to the first podcast that we did. Can you remember when I said, when you get to a level like that, you want that glory back, you want that fame back. And of course, I've watched a lot of these boxers over the years. They disappear for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and all of a sudden they want to come back into the game, and they're never the same people.
Yeah.
I remember a wise old coach said to me, Paddy, listen, I was at a good level. I sparred everybody. The man who'd come in the gym, I would spar him. And when I worked away, I'd walk in their gym and I'd fight the number one in the gym.
Yeah.
And I'd hold my own with him.
Yeah.
But as years went on, my coach said, Paddy, listen, when you're there, people respect you at that level. Yeah. So never, ever jump back in the ring, Paddy, no matter how easy you think it's going to be for you. You've got old bones now, Paddy. You're not as fast as these people. So keep out, stay the coach. Yeah. Because you lose that respect. Yeah. Can you imagine, I've got a gym full of 100-odd kids in here, and then I went in there with a couple of the novices, and they started knocking me about. Yeah. The other 99 people going, oh my God, who's that Paddy's not that good? Yeah. So I don't do it. I really don't do it for that one reason. And Mike shouldn't have done it. Nah. Yes, listen, he's done it. He's skint. Yeah. And I can't blame him for that. And, I wish him, all the luck. But you hear him talk now. He wishes he didn't do it. But it's too late. Once you've done it, you've done it. You lose that level of respect.
I think the next fight is that Gervonta Davis is supposed to be trying to fight Jake Paul as well in exhibition. This exhibition stuff has got to stop. You don't play boxing, do you?
You don't play boxing?
No. And I think that's what this YouTube stuff is potentially diluting boxing by people thinking it is some random streamer that fights another one. They make up this beef. They try to create, as you say, ticket sales. They create all this hype around it. And then one of them gets in there and could get seriously hurt quite quickly. Because there are some half-decent ones. There's some that can throw hands. There's some that literally deer in the headlights, get punched in the face once. Like that Elle Brooke who does the OnlyFans stuff.
Yeah.
She turned out to be a half-decent boxer.
Yeah.
But she's then fighting others that aren't at that level.
Yeah.
And you think, how long can we keep diluting the sport that we love with people pretending to play a game that this ain't a sport you play at, is it?
It only takes one punch.
Yeah.
One punch can change your life.
Yeah.
One punch.
We don't play at boxing, Paddy, is basically the message.
Well, you don't, do you? You know, and you can play football, you can play rugby, play cricket, you can play, all the games, the table tennis and stuff like that. But boxing's a serious sport, I mean, just have a look, with McClellan, when that guy was blinking like that, I mean, you could see it. You could see him blinking, like this in between rounds. There was definitely something going on. It definitely had a bleed on the brain. But the referees and people around the ring were more excited, the adrenaline rush of watching two gladiators kick lumps out of each other.
Yeah.
That thing was forgotten about, and because having two incredible journeymen like those two guys go to war was one of the most exciting. Well. It was a war right from round one. I mean, he knocked him through the ring in round one. I thought, oh my God, that's the fight over. But I mean, you just don't play at boxing, and it's a very serious sport. And I've always said to everybody, I'm a level 3, in Ireland, I'm level 5 in the UK. You've got to have the right coaches. You've got to have the right training. You've got to understand. It's not just about coming into a gym and show somebody how to move his feet, and throw 1-2. It's everything. The whole thing is encompassing. It's understanding that guy, because no guy's the same. Everybody's different. Yeah. They're uniquely different because the personalities are all different. Yeah. And you speak to any coach around the world and they'll say the same thing. I'll take, for instance, Mike Tyson. When he walked into a gym, Cus D'Amato said within seconds of meeting him, he knew he was going to be world champion. Yeah. And I instantly know if somebody comes into my gym and they're giving it the big one, I know. Yeah. They're not. And I would rather them tell me nothing. Yeah. If they just come and say, I'm a blank canvas, Paddy, I know nothing, then I'll work with them and I'll give them full, 100% of my attention. Yeah. But if they come through the door like Billy Wanker, I've done this, straight away, I'm off them and I'll sort of criticise the hell out of them, their feet, their skipping and everything. And that tells me a lot about it. They're skipping. That's the first thing you do in my gym. Pick a rope up. Let's get your body moving. Let's get your feet moving and stuff like that. But no, you don't play boxing. No.
Obviously, the YouTube stuff is a big seller. It's a big seller with a new focus for boxing. And it's probably something that boxing can enhance and utilise. It's just the YouTube streamers trying to pick beef and stuff like that and start playing around thinking that they're not going to get hurt is the biggest concern. White collar boxing, I know I'm going off a little bit of a tangent. I've done a white collar fight before. You get 8 weeks of training and then you get in a ring. What's your opinions on that as well?
It's well known in England. In England they do it. In Ireland it's not as sort of popular as it is in the UK. But in England, I've been around some of these shows. I went to one show once. And I'll be honest with you, it was terrible. It was like two lads having a scrap. You don't call yourself a boxer after 8 weeks training. No. It would take one of my guys just a year to learn how to use that rope. Yeah. Skip properly, move his feet, do the ABC. But after 8 weeks training, and you send two kids into a ring and they knock 7 bells out of each other. Yeah. And again, back in the UK, I won't criticise any of the clubs, but there's been several deaths. Bleeds on the brain. Yeah. And people haven't recognised it, Mismatch, absolutely mismatched. It's just about getting bums on seat. And these kids have got to sell at least 2 tables. Yeah. Sell 2 tables, else you don't get on. Yeah. And then they say they're going to, give the money to charity. You show me where that charity money's going, and I'll call them a liar. I mean, they may stick a bit into the charity, but let me tell you, 95% of it is going into their back pocket. Yeah. Let me tell you, nobody does nothing, for nothing in that game. No. And it's dangerous, and it really is dangerous. But there's, they've got no body. There's no body out there that protects them. Anybody, you have a problem, you've got to sign your disclaimer. I don't know. You say you had one fight, but you must have signed some disclaimer to say it's on you. So. Yeah, it's just it's crazy.
Do you think that's because the Boxing Board of Control aren't interested in it, or they just turn a blind eye, or what?
Well, they've got no control of the BBC, BBC. So it's not part of them at all. They wouldn't. I mean, if there was money in it, then they'd get involved, but it's not.
No.
There's very little insurance in that game.
Yeah.
For one, you take a fight, it's on you.
Yeah.
You sign that disclaimer and you're in there. And until there's a death every week, nothing will be done about it. The law won't change, because there is no law against it.
No.
2 kids can go and battle in the middle of the car park if they want it. But the white collar boxing is a bit more, a little bit more controlled. You do have a ref.
Yeah.
Hopefully that ref's trained up, but my guess is he wouldn't be. Not for a white collar fight, just with some other guy. You dragged out the pub, just to, just to supervise it.
Yeah.
Stop them killing each other.
Do you think that also dilutes the sport as well? Because people sort of feel that they can say, I've had a fight, I've got in the ring, I've done this, I've done 8 weeks of training, and then some people take it a bit further. Some people think they're better, and because as you said, a lot of people don't make any money until they get to the professional echelons and right management and stuff like that. Do you think because the people are selling tickets to white collar boxing, there's this event, that event, that's where all the money goes, is obviously into the promoters' pockets and stuff, and those people that want to get into the game seriously and properly go for it, you've got to get through those stages as well before it actually makes any money, because that's their cash cow. Those white collar fights, those undercards that are not going to sell out many people. Does that make it harder for people to make this pay the proper way it should?
See, in white collar boxing, there's probably more money made at that than there is as a professional fight. When I turned professional, I was offered 300 quid. 300 quid.
Wow.
I'd spent a lifetime as an amateur, 18 to 34. Here, there, and everywhere. Boxed for England in 1989, and I was offered 300 quid for my first one, 4-2s. And I'm thinking, holy shit, nobody makes any money really in boxing. It's a poor man's sport. It really is. No matter what people tell you, the likes of Mike Tyson, they made millions and millions and millions. This is why this YouTube thing has gone absolutely crazy. There's massive, massive money in it. And every sort of promoter in the world wants to get involved because they know there's a big dividends. Plus every boxer that's retired. I mean, I've just heard Carl Froch wants to come back and and have a go with somebody.
Logan Paul, is it Logan Paul? And him keep having.
But you're talking hundreds of millions. Hundreds of millions viewed all over the world.
There's probably plenty of people that like to punch Carl Froch as well, to be fair. Listen, he's like, a bit like Marmite. Some people love him or hate him.
Well, listen, I know him, and he's a really straight-talking bloke.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
And
I love that.
Get him on his own, he's sound. Honest to God, I've been to a few fights with him, and he's wonderful. And he does say what he thinks. Sometimes you maybe think he needs somebody next to him with a cattle prong, just like, hang on, Carl. But he does say what he feels, and he gets a lot of people's backs up, But let me tell you, he was one of the best boxers on the planet.
It was the Swedish geezer he fought. Because just that fight, and then the Groves fights as well, the two of them, and then whether it was and wasn't, who won, and but that's what the jeopardy of boxing is as well, because like you go back to the likes of Canelo fighting Triple G. There was a trilogy of fights there, and everyone's probably got a different scorecard for every fight. So it's horses for courses. Like if you like uptight, defensive, skill set boxing, you'll get one fighter and you'll be like, no, they've dominated that one. And then you've got other ones that are aggressors. And it all depends on the ref that's put on the board next to it as well. And I think that's also, some people love that part of boxing. But I think it also pisses some people off. There are refs that are clearly getting paid to make decisions as well, and that home advantage for certain boxers, especially in America, it kind of goes against a lot of people thinking actually this is a legitimate sport that we kind of want to get behind, and maybe that's why UFC is slightly different. A lot more have gone towards that way. Do you agree?
No, I agree. No, I agree. You know, boxing, it's a strange world. You know, I always remember many years ago, coach said to me, styles makes fights. Yeah. And I never really understood what he meant. You know, if you come up against a southpaw, I come up against 3 southpaws in my amateur career, and it was terrible. All 3 of them made me look stupid. Yeah. You know, because I had no one in my gym that was southpaw. Nobody was left-handed. They were all sort of orthodox boxers. Yeah. And when I went in against a southpaw, he really did he was picking me off like mad. I'm thinking, shit, I'm going the wrong direction. You know, I'm turning to the right, where I should have gone out to the left. Yeah. I'm thinking, holy Moses. So they are very, very awkward. He said to me also, he says, they're either very, very good, Paddy, or they're very, very shit. Yeah. Marvin Hagler was the best on the planet. Yeah. I mean, he would just absolutely destroy you. He confused the life out of you. He'd bang you with both hands, and you would know which way he was coming at you. And to go against a southpaw is really, really tricky. Yeah. You know, but styles make fights, you know. You can put 2 gladiators together, but if their style doesn't match that one there, you can make it look really good or really bad. You know, but that Carl Froch, let me tell you, that guy is a warrior. Yeah. That guy, he was down on the canvas, you know, in quite a few fights, and he got back up. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, and he finished them off. And I'll tell you what, I mean, I love the guy. Yeah, he's probably a little bit outspoken sometimes, but listen. I'd rather him like that than the other way. I've got no issue with outspoken, as that's why we're sat here. Yeah, I'd rather him that way than the other way, you know. Yeah. He's very honest, he's very straight, says what he feels, you know, and he's respected by a lot of great people out there. Yeah, he does rub a few people up the road. Who's that guy there now? He's just, is it the UFC fighter? He's just... it's Till. Is it Till? He's Darren Till. Yeah. Darren Till. Yeah. I mean, he jumps out the ring to have a fight with him, and he's eating. He's just looking and thinking, "This is great." Yeah. Because he's right up his street. That's and if I put the 2 together, I think Carl's 40 odd now. Is he 40? Yeah, 41, 42 now, isn't he? I mean, he would still have a fight. He's the Cobra. Yeah. He's the Cobra. He's in good nick as well. So great. He's never sort of dropped that either, has he? No. A little one then for those that love their boxing as well. So as a coach, how would you coach somebody that's never fought a southpaw? Now that, as you said, you had 3 fights against him, never really had you didn't have the opportunity to experience it in your own gym. And say you were in the same situation as a coach now. Yeah. How would you try? I'd put him in against southpaws. Especially, you know. But obviously, if you didn't have any at your disposal, how would you try and? I would turn one of the kids to turn southpaw. Okay. Yeah, my own gym. I just turn him southpaw. So right, go southpaw for him. Just box him at that. You know, keep the power down. I put somebody a little bit more experienced just to bring him on a bit. Yeah. It's no good going lower. And I've said it for time and time again. If you go in there with somebody low, you're going to be that person. Yeah. But if you go high, it's going to make you work harder and think better, you know, and you're going to get tagged a bit more, which is going to get you to sort of think about what's going on. Wake up. You know, because a punch in the face will soon wake you up. You know. What was the old adage? Everyone's got a game plan until they get punched in the face. And it's true. Yeah. So the southpaws, they're very, honest to God, they're very awkward. Yeah. And if they can move their feet, you know, keep their hands up, move their feet, sit back on the back leg. You think, shit, honest to God, they're incredible. And they're very rare. They're very rare southpaws, you know. You don't see many out there, but honestly, they're very, very good or they're very, very bad. Yeah. You know, so. Deontay Wilder sort of dropped into that sort of model with a wild overhand cross, and then you got Tyson drops into that role sometimes when he sort of gets up close, and then when he decides, well, actually, I've probably been attacked a few times, the hands go up again. Yeah. And those sort of fighters, obviously in the heavyweight division as well, one punch could end a fight in a second, can't it? Like that the fighter's punch could end anything. Yeah. When you saw those 2 come up against each other, and obviously Tyson off the back of such a long layoff, some pretty dog shit warm-up fights leading into that as well. He fought some Greek binman, I think, at some point, didn't he? And there was some terrible fights. Yeah. And then he goes and puts in that display, and basically like the Undertaker, fucking rises out of nowhere, didn't he? Yeah. Was it a 10 count? Was it not a 10 count? But we'll leave that for another day. But those sort of style fighters, how would you also negate that as a coach, or when you were in the ring, how would you try to look around that situation? Because you don't know where it's coming from, do you? It's the first one to land the punch. Yeah. It's that big punch. Once that punch comes over, both of them got a knockout punch.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw that Wilder hit him, and he was gone.
Yeah.
I mean, if that was me, man, for me, something was a bit dodgy about all that.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, nobody goes down like that, because he went down, bang.
Yeah.
He hit his head. His head must have fucking ricocheted twice off that thing. For me, that would have been, I would have called it. As a ref, I'd have called it. You know, I would never have counted this guy. He was gone.
Yeah.
You know, he's completely closed, nothing. Honestly, he wasn't here. And then for him to get up, you know, and to watch your man as he walked over the corner, he thought, that's it, thank God.
Well, everyone in the crowd was. Deontay's wife or whatever was doing backflips, thinking it was all done on it.
I mean, everybody on the plane was going, oh my God, am I choose one? And you think, to get up, it was like he was resurrected, something happened. It was definitely divine intervention. And to get up, and you're thinking, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, was it 10 seconds or 11 seconds? And I've seen the playbacks a few times.
Yeah.
And it looked like, to me, went over.
Close.
If I was that referee and I'd have gone to 6, 7, I would have stopped.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the rule of thumb with refereeing. If he ain't coming round. I remember I had a boxer hit somebody and he went out, and he was out for 1.5 minutes. And I'm in that ring reffing it.
You weren't counting still, were you?
Mate, well, I never started counting. As soon as he hit, I mean, this shot, you could hear it across the road, and bomb. And I went, oh my God. Anyway, I turned him in the recovery and all that. And I said, straight away, get the ambulance, the doctor. And he goes, you serious, Paddy? I goes, he ain't coming round.
No.
And he was gone. 1.5 minutes. I mean, we called the ambulance, and his father was there, and I was telling his dad to keep out of the way. And 1.5 minutes later, honestly, that was it. And I'm looking at the clock. Yeah. And I'm remembering all my sort of, you know, all the stuff that I've learned about, you know, the sort of brain injuries and stuff like that, because it's very different. If it had been my son, everything just goes out the window.
Yeah.
Boom, you forget everything. But because it was somebody else, all my training came into effect, and I've looked at him and thinking, right, and I'm looking at the clock, all right, and I've got the clock already, you know, measured in my head, all right. But then 90 seconds went by, and he started coming. I said, whoa, calm down. I said, have we called the ambulance? He said, we've called it, Paddy. He said, right, hang on, ring them back, apologise, say, look, it's false alarm, let's see how we get on with this kid. And as he got up, he said, I've gone blind, Paddy. You've gone blind? He said, I can't see. And I went, right, okay, listen, come here. So I pulled him to the corner. Everybody's come over, everybody in the gym. I met about 140 people in this gym. And then they all come over and I said, you're all right. And they're all watching me. And I'm thinking, right. And then they started taking their phones out. I'm thinking, hang on, I'm going to end up in court over this. Yeah. And I'm looking at him. His father's saying, he's all right, Paddy, he's all right. And I said, look, he said, do you want to get up, son? And he said, yeah, my side's coming back now, Paddy. I said, right. What you need to do now, let's get him in the car, let's put the seatbelt on him, then we need to go to hospital. Yeah. And I said, you've got to promise me you're going to take him to the hospital. Paddy, I'll take him to the hospital. The following day, he's rang me, he says, I'm taking him to the hospital now, Paddy. I said, you never took him? And he said, no, I've had to write it in the accident book, I've had to do everything proper, you know, legal and general, thinking, look, I'm going to be in trouble over this. The boy he was boxing was a complete novice. This kid had 11 fights for me. And he knocked him spark out. Yeah. But this kid, you know, this one boy, I won't mention his name, and he's probably going to watch this thing. He was bullying this guy every time he went in. And I used to say, calm down, with that left hook, calm down. So just before he got in the ring, I said to this kid, I want you to go hell for leather on him. Yeah. Just windmill, just go straight in there and just try and hit him. Yeah. I want you to sort of put manners on him. When he knocked him out, oh my God, what have I done? You know, what have I done? As a coach, I'm thinking, shit. So anyway, he come around, everything. But then I had to give him 28 days. Yeah. I had to give him 28 days. So look, you can't come back in the gym. 28 days, and I need to make sure you're okay. You got a clean health, you know, bill of health. And then 28 days later, his father came back in and said, I need to speak to you about something, Paddy. Either those two brothers are kicked out of this gym, else I'm taking my son somewhere else. And I went, I can't believe you said that. I said, why is that? He said, I never had anybody do that to my son. I said, your son for 6 months has been bullying these two kids. Yeah. I said, so he got his comeuppance. Anyway, he left me, this guy, with his son, joined another gym, and he got knocked out again on his next fight. So listen, in boxing, Mickey Duff said to me 30 odd years, maybe 40 years ago, if you're looking for loyalty, Paddy, forget it. Yeah. Buy a dog. Get a dog. Because there's no loyalty in this game. A lot of parents are also blind to what their kids are as well. They always want the best for the kid and they think that they're the only one that is good at what they do. Well, they try and tell you your job. You know, I've been doing this all my life. And all of a sudden, you know, they've never picked a pair of gloves up in their life and they know better than me. And I'm thinking, hang on, no, he's not ready. No. And that's the other thing with these parents. You know, I'd have him in the gym maybe 6, 7 months. When's he going to fight then, Paddy? Well, I don't think he's ready. You know, maybe next year. Why is that? I said, well, he's not ready. he's been here 6-7 months. I says, I know, but he isn't ready. Oh, right, well, listen, I think I'll take him to another gym. And then they do. They take him to another gym.
But why are they obsessed of wanting to get him fighting? Because it's like, sparring's enough. And as you said, the fitness level is completely different. You can spar all day in a gym, but you actually get the adrenaline and the energy and the excitement when you get into a ring for an actual fight. That is a whole different kettle of fish. So what's their obsession, thinking that they're going to accelerate it? Because do you think that, again, is affected by the 8-week training period? These other people that are doing it on YouTube, and they're doing it within 12 weeks or whatever. Do you think some people think that that's a realistic time frame for somebody to get in a ring?
I think every parent, hopes and prays that their son's going to be either a genius, or is going to be the
superstar sports person,
go to the moon or something, But when they start taking up boxing, they're sort of proud as punch. They think, oh wow, this is going to be incredible. But I say to every class that I have here, listen, the fighting is the easy bit. This is the hard bit, the cardio, the graft in the gym. They're sort of listening to the coach, practice. Throw the same punch 1,000 times, do the same drills 1,000 times. Because once they have their first fight, and these kids are going to realise this, the 29th of November, they're going to have their first fight. I'm not joking, you, Carl. They're going to understand what I'm saying, because I'm saying they're going to have to run around that ring, and I'll teach them to run around this ring. I said, forget about the throwing the punches, keep your hands up and move left, move right, shoot in, shoot out. Because I tell you what, 3 rounds, 3-minute rounds.
Fuck, it's brutal.
That first round, they're going to come back. They're going to think their lungs have collapsed. Their legs are going to feel weak. They're going to sit in that chair. They won't have a clue what you're saying to them. And that's another thing about boxing. If I had £1 for every match I went to, every boxing match, I would be 10 times a millionaire, because I'd listen to these coaches screaming at their kids in the corner.
Nobody's listening.
And as a boxer, I never heard, at my early days, I never heard anybody outside them, that rope. Nobody. All I was focused on, oh my God, this kid, is the referee hitting me as well? Because I never saw that,
Is he an octopus? There's like fucking 8
My
hours.
face is froze. I know I've been sort of punched a few times. I hadn't a clue where he was coming from. I forgot about moving my legs.
You forgot you got legs as well. That's
you forget everything. So I just say, right, the basics, keep those hands up, turn on your side, that 45-degree angle, and shoot left, shoot right, and parry. Parry, catch those gloves. Don't be going rushing in. Don't rush in. And my last show in 2022 here, trained this Spanish kid, and he won't mind me saying this about him. And he only trained with me for about 7 months, and I matched him up. I didn't match him with an experienced kid. I don't like to take anybody who's had nothing, because I know nothing about him. If he's had if he's had 2, won 1, lost 1, I know something about him. If he's had 3, won 2, lost 1, okay, I'd still have a punt on that. Depending on how strong my kid was. And I put this lad in, and he's a wonderful, wonderful kid. And everything that I told him for 7 or 8 months, I thought somebody swapped him over.
Really?
Because he did nothing at all that I asked him to do. And he went from the corner, and he ran, and he dived through the ring. And he went straight through. And he went straight through the ring. And when he came back in, they all got him back in. I thought, who the hell's that? They've swapped my fighter over, Of course, he just ran around that ring, throwing everything he had. I think he tried to kick him a couple of times and headbutt him and all that. And when he got back to the corner, no, I was the MC, so I weren't reffing it. It wasn't in his corner. But my pal was in his corner. He looked at me and goes, Jesus Christ, who the fuck's this? I went, oh my God, don't worry. He's a doctor. And he was a doctor, this kid, but a podiatrist. And they went, fucking hell, I got no clue. Of course, I'm not going to look at him. And his eyes had sort of swollen out like that. He was breathing. He nearly sucked the ring in.
Wow.
He was like, and I'm thinking, oh my God. Chill, chill, calm down, I'm thinking, oh my God, but everything just went out. And then afterwards, we had 2 lovely ambulance girls in there, and out of all the 14 fights I had, she came to me afterwards. She says, I need to go in your changing room there, Paddy. She says, one of the lads had passed out, and it was him. Well, he was the only one that had any... His head just, you know,
wow.
It must have just filled with blood and he'd gone mad. First fight, you know, he just went crazy.
It is that sort of stage.
Well, you've had the one collar.
Yeah.
I mean, it's frightening, isn't it?
Oh,
somebody's
mate,
trying to beat the shit out of you.
3 2-minute rounds, and like obviously training with the guy as well for the periods. Chris, if he's watching, he's a top bloke, really nice bloke. But I'd watch him train. I was thinking, right, this is going to be a fairly easy fight. This is what he does. He does this, and this. Come into the game, into the ring, and a sort of a different fighter turned up, and I got sort of shell shocked a little bit with it, and counted quite early on, and then I sort of settled back into it, traded some blows. He sort of got stopped a couple of times, and then the third round was just 2 really fat blokes stroking each other effectively, but everyone was up on their feet, everyone was loving it. It was just a proper dogged war. It's on YouTube somewhere. We might be able to share it at some point on this, but it's it was just again, I got to the end of it, and like as you say, just the kind of everything drains. I felt fucking sick. I couldn't breathe. Like, there's 2 tables worth of people over there screaming my name, and I'm like, I can't fucking breathe. I can't see. And then I was like, "Where's a beer? I need a beer." And somebody passed a beer through it, and then we got given a draw, and I was like, I don't even care. I can't fucking breathe. And then somebody was like, "Oh, you're going to do a rematch?" I'm like, I can't breathe at the minute. Let alone do it again.
I know.
So yeah, I just, as we discussed a couple of times before, though, anyone that steps through the ropes, going up against someone else that's willingly going to be there and punch them in the face, that's a whole different kind of bravery again.
Yeah.
Because anyone can have a scrap in the street.
Oh yeah.
But actually actively going into this is. And that's where we go back to it's not a game. No. It's not one that you play.
It's not a game. Out in the street, like you say, you know, you can bite them, kick them, headbutt them, elbow them. You can do all these kind of things, stab them, and God knows what. Yeah. But in the ring, it's a bit more of a gentleman's sport where it's just gloves on gloves. Yeah. You know, and it's a chess game between the 2 fighters. Yeah. You know, and it always comes down to the coaches, how good the coaches are. I've been to lots of gyms, you know, and I'm thinking, oh God, these kids are really raw. Yeah. You know, and that's the level of coaching. And, you know, like here in Spain, again, I'm not trying to slag anybody off here, but since I came here, you know, and I've been to quite a few of the clubs, the level's very different. Yeah. Very, very, very different. You know, it's not like England. You know, England, we got, you know, professional bodies around us. You know, GB is incredible, you know, for, you know, putting you on courses, level 1s, 2s, 3s, right up to 7. Yeah. You know, the safeguarding of kids is a lot more better. You know, I've been on all the courses. You know, you can't get your license until you go on these courses. Have to do it every year. Yeah. You know, it's a pain, but you have to do it. Yes. So when I came here and I met these guys, you know, and, you know, some of them, you know, had started boxing for various clubs. And I thought, no, I would definitely not, you know, put them in. And one of these kids had actually had a fight. Yeah. And then when I looked at him, he couldn't skip for toffee. He was throwing all the wrong combinations. He had no guard. I'm thinking, oh God. Yeah. You know, so I took the kid on, and he actually fought in 2022 for me, and he's gone off to win 3 national championships. And he was a good kid. Yeah. But when I first met him, he was sort of working out of somebody's garage. That's the difference here. Yeah. They can have a garage out here and set a boxing club with him. Yeah. You know, I met the federation, and I was very, very, very disappointed with the federation. Had a show in 2022. Signed all the forms, months and months and months in advance, went to Ireland, got the list of boxers, got the registration number of the club. We're part of the European, we're from the Republic of Ireland. They box all over the world. And a couple of months before, they asked me for a couple of other bits. I gave them that. I mean, they run me ragged for the stuff they wanted. Yeah. And then about a week before the show, they called and said, can we put a couple of professionals on your show? And I said, well, no, we've got 14 kids on. It's an amateur show. It's my first show here in Spain. You can't. And they took the ump over that. Now, there were 600 people. Yeah. 600 people at this event. It's a dinner show. Yeah. I've got everything there. I've got Channel 4.
Yeah.
You know, they're there. We've got lots of other celebrities have come there. The whole of Denia was at this show. Anybody and anybody wanted to come and see this show. They've never had a show in Denia. They've never had a boxing tournament of that, you know, level. And the Irish came over, 37 of them. They all got there. Channel 4 picked them up from the airport, brought them in. It was incredible. The transition was great. On the night, everybody was there, all weighed in. Everybody's weight was accurate. Everybody was great. And then the federation turned up. There's about 14 of them. The MC, the referees, the doctor. And as soon as I got there, straight away, oh, you got to pay for the doctor, you got to pay for this. Okay. So I had the money ready for them, give them the cash, give them all the cash. Within half an hour, they said, no, the paperwork's no good. We need to speak to the boxing president of Ireland. This is 6 o'clock on a Friday night. And I said, you're kidding me? No. Boom. They packed everything up. Not many people know this, but they can know it now. It's been a few years.
Yeah.
They packed everything up, and just as we were leaving, I snatched the bag off the one guy of the boxing gloves. I said, you're not leaving with the gloves. I'm telling you now, you leave with the gloves, and we were high up, I was going to throw them through the fucking window. And I did lose the fucking plot a little bit.
I'll bet.
I actually thought I was going to have a fucking heart attack.
Wow.
Anyway, these people just marched off. Now, I said, what about the fucking money for the doctor? I already paid all these guys.
Yeah.
And they just turned their backs at me and gone. Now, I've looked at a guy called Peter O'Donnell. He's the boxing president in Donegal. He's one of the most incredible men. But, you know, without that Peter O'Donnell, he said, Paddy, I'm the boxing president. I'm the Federation of the Irish Boxing. Yeah. You've still got a show. I brought judges with me. I brought timekeeper with me. I brought everybody. Let's mix and match. Let's get some judges to the side. We've still got a show. We're not going to stop it. And I'm telling you what, I had that was my 24th show. I had 24 shows. That was the best show I've ever had in my life. Yeah. But I must tell you, about half an hour, well, about 10 minutes after they left, my heart was pumping. And there's a lift, because this is an incredible venue, the Balearia. And I went into the lift. I didn't even press a button. Once the door shut, I just stood there, and I felt my head filling up with blood.
Throbbing.
And I thought, oh my God, Paddy, I'm going to have a heart attack.
Jesus.
And because the pressure, 600 tickets, you know, 600 tickets, and it was 8-course meal. The menu was there, the chef was there, all the food was there, celebrities, Channel 4, the DJ, the security, it was all there. Yeah. And I'm thinking, shit. So anyway, I sort of, listen, I'm made of better stuff than this. Fucking shook it off, went out there, never said anything to them, grabbed hold of the mic and said, right, ladies and gentlemen, and then started introducing everybody to the ring. Wow. And you can get it on YouTube. It was one of the best fucking shows I've ever had in my life. And no one knew a thing about it. Everybody just thought, what a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful show.
Well, Paddy, I think that brings episode 2 to an end. It's an absolute pleasure sitting here and chatting everything with you, and I hope everyone is enjoying what we're doing within the Paddy Brennan Punching Up show. And yeah, we've got next episode. We're going to be talking about the upcoming show in Javier, the 25th show that you've been put on, Paddy. Obviously, we'll hopefully have something exciting to announce alongside the episode ahead of that. And yeah, so next episode you get to catch us talking about the fighters that are coming across for the upcoming show in Javier. And yeah, thanks for everyone for joining. And Paddy, thanks again, mate, for sitting down again.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hope to see you on the next episode.